Hi, guys. Welcome. And thanks for joining us today for the Apartment Design Charrette. Hopefully, we're going to do a charrette today. That is exciting. It's another Sage Tech Talk. Tech Talk is a collaboration between Sage and Tazergy, if you've never seen us before. It's the senior living technology version of a short version webinar. Let's have introductions. Matt, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Matt Haywood, founder and CEO of Tazergy. We are low voltage senior living solution seeking experts, everything from consulting to support to implementation. How was that?
It's fantastic, and your eyes light up when you talk about it. I love it. My name is Jill Schroeder. I'm the current Sage president, so I am so happy to be hosting this on behalf of Sage and Tazergy. I'm a senior architectural planner with BKV Group. It's an architectural firm out of Minneapolis. We have other offices, but I'm based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I volunteer my time with this organization as a commitment to bring all of you relevant content to help better our design for aging community. And for those of you who are not familiar with SAGE, we're the Society for the Advancement of Gerontological Environments. It's a membership-based organization representing and promoting collaboration between all disciplines in the senior living industry and careful planning of educational content like this, presented by Matt of Tazergy and who is also a member of SAGE, by the way. It hopefully gives you insight into a topic, and with any luck, maybe you learn something new. That's always our goal. So these tech talks are free to you, and please pass the word along if you find them relevant. Share this information. We want to get it out. That's our goal, is for education. They happen every month. And if you like what you see and hear today and are not a member, please consider visiting our website, sagefederation.org, for information on a SAGE membership. Hey, Matt,
You know what
you live in
else
what
that comes with a
else?
Sage member is you get a complimentary consultation from Tazergy for an existing or
That's
upcoming project.
that's
That's just a
correct. We're gonna
Sage member benefit. So
Yes, we
we'll
can talk
cover that
about that
again,
later
but
too. Yes. Okay, so today's topic, a smart apartment design charrette. That's what we wanted to cover today. And we're going to talk specifically about smart technology. I have a few floor plans to discuss the landscape for deploying smart technologies in an apartment or a unit. This includes both passive and active technologies and their impacts on residents and staff. By the way, after I share my screen, if you have questions, don't wait to the end. We're only a half hour.
ask away.
So
Right.
ask away, type them in the chat and we'll address them. This is an interactive
Or the
charrette
Q&A.
today. That's
Yes.
right. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get into this. Um, let's see. Technology, share my screen. Here we go.
Boom.
Good. All right. You should
Check
hopefully
task number one completed
completed,
successfully. Good job.
exactly. So, all right, let's jump into it. This is a floor plan for an independent living, um, and and I'm going to say, Matt, in consulting with you, that in this typical floor plan, our operator is asking for what they're asking specifically, what are some of the latest and greatest technologies that we can implement and plan for inside this apartment. It's a typical one bedroom. It's got a washer and dryer. So it's all the typical spaces you'd see in a basic floor plan for independent living. We've got a balcony, living room, kitchen, walk-in closet, bathroom. They've asked for something, what's the base level that they could be talking about, and advanced, more luxury types. So there's two different categories. The priority that they've said, Matt, would be trying to be competitive in the market to the competition just down the road. And since it's independent living, I'm not sure that they're holding fall risk as high up on the scale, but I always think that that is a priority. So I don't want it to be a miss in discussions. But first off, any overall thoughts that you'd want to give for advice in thinking about an independent living apartment?
For sure. Well, that's very helpful.
Yep.
So, in an independent living, one
Yep.
of the questions that I would want to at least make sure this operator is aware of is the difference between, let's call it managed and unmanaged. In other
Okay.
words, are you, do they actively want to participate in the deployment and management of that smart apartment, or do they want to have sort of a smart apartment ready for an IL resident to move in? And really that
Yeah.
ties to administration expectations. What are they doing? What do they want to see as an operator from that smart apartment? Right.
Valid. That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
there's a couple things we can break it down a little bit, like to take it to a basic level. Let's say from an operator, I think there's a reason from an IL unit perspective to consider a smart T-stat, something that they manage and control part of an ecosystem because of the utility efficiency.
Yeah.
So now that's not something you just stumble upon and say, oh, yeah, I just want to do that. No, you need to be intentional about it. Whether you're doing a CapEx renovation or whether you're doing a ground up new construction, you
Ah,
need to plan
yes.
for that. This is not something that you would just say to your GC
Yep.
and that they would sub out to the mechanical. Hey, I just need that,
Yep.
because the mechanical subcontractor is going to present whatever smart T stats that they're talking about.
Yeah.
We need to provide some framework around what it is. I would say from an operator standpoint, if I'm an operator, I care about the utility bill that I'm footing,
Yeah.
but I also don't want to sacrifice my resident comfort, right? We want
Yeah.
that to be good.
Yeah.
Um, and you may have been in a hotel unit that has a smart thermostat type. It's,
Yeah.
when you open the door and leave it open, the fan might still run, but the heating or cooling might turn off. So
Sure.
that way you're not heating or cooling the outdoors. That's just an example.
Yeah, that is a great example. Are there certain smart technologies that are almost impossible to integrate in a renovation or remodeling situation? I mean, that's a valid concern because a lot of
Yeah,
independent living or campuses are existing. They're landlocked. They can't build ground up. They don't have any more dirt. So
right.
to renovate these units, what are some that are just out of the question to even consider? I mean, is it?
I would say none of the question.
Oh,
What
okay.
usually puts it out of the question is budget.
Oh, yes.
So, but fundamentally, I mean, your question is valid. Are
Okay.
there smart technologies that are just prohibitive to
Yeah.
considering for a CapEx? And my
Right.
answer would be no. But now
Okay.
when we talk about CapEx renovation, some of these IL operators are focused on room flips. So
Yes.
what do we do to upgrade the resident apartment? When a resident moves out, we want to prep it. So you mentioned one of the criteria. They wanted to remain competitive within the market space. So
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So um, an operator can choose to smart enable, meaning they go out and outfit it with, a smart light, a smart thermostat, but that would all be standalone. It would be something within the space that they could deploy and say,
Mhm.
hey, we have it, here you go. There's a cost for that. Some operators, I'd say you can probably put a budget anywhere from $500 to 12 or $1,500 to outfit,
Okay.
depending upon whether you're just talking about one light switch and one T-stat. You'd probably be in
Yeah.
the $500 to $800 range. But if you
Yeah.
talk about a light switch in each unit and whatever have you. Um,
Okay.
but again, that is basically equipping a resident to move in
Yeah.
and configure, manage those smart
Yeah.
devices.
Okay.
Download the app, sign in, that type of thing.
Okay.
Um, Now, there's things to consider in that. As a room flips and one resident moves out, like you may
Yeah.
need to reset that gear and bring it over to another resident who's moving in.
Yeah. I brought up the next floor plan because in this scenario, uh, they're looking for not just a couple that could move into the independent living, but maybe in this case, they want to be flexible and add any technologies they're thinking for friends or a couple where one has a little bit of memory loss coming into play. And so thinking about strategies to help mitigate issues that could come from this if one is a little more needs a little more help in
Yeah,
certain categories to prevent injuries or anything else. Any thoughts there?
absolutely. And this is an IL resident who might have one
Yep.
spouse that has a little bit more need for help.
Yep.
Um, let's just start from a risk standpoint. As an
Yeah.
operator, if you've got an IL unit, your staffing level and your licensing level and what you're committing to deliver from a service standpoint is needs to be considered,
Yeah. True.
right? So if you have an IL resident who's moving in who is requesting those services, I generally find that operators are looking for standalone one-offs that say, hey, if you could put in a fall detection system, but
Yeah.
the spouse needs to monitor it. We don't have
Sure.
one
Yep.
for
Li-
that,
liability issues, but
for
yeah.
a liability issue. Now,
Yeah.
I I I think that there is a possibility for solving that, but that's a larger
Hmm.
strategy and initiative from an operator standpoint on how
Hmm.
they roll that program out across the spectrum or continuum of care that they're offering at their campus or their community.
Yeah. Okay.
So unfortunately, it comes down to risk because I'd say, and I say unfortunately because technologies exist, but if it increases the risk of an
Yeah.
operator to deliver that technology platform, it's not something that an operator wants to accept that risk
Yeah.
for for the benefit because it's difficult to deliver that without increasing the risk level.
Okay. I like this floor plan as a great example in this kind of scenario because one has their own bathroom that they can walk into and the other does as well. So it doesn't necessarily condone itself to a married couple, but it could be that friend grouping. But each of them, especially in that case, if someone needs a little more assistance and we outfit it with technology, it'll already have the physical layout that's helping us get there to be a safe, comfortable
Right.
home environment. I,
We had
I've,
an
I've,
example of an IL resident that had that specific example. It was an open existing community
yep,
where
yeah,
the spouse was more prone to dementia, sort of sundowners, and he
sure,
was concerned about his wife's safety and just wanted to be able to monitor when she left the unit.
sure, okay,
And so that really was the delineation, like, hey, you can go buy some things. Here's some options
yeah,
to put in that would make you aware, but keep in mind you
right,
need to be in the unit.
yep,
If the community wanted to offer that, I think that's the thing that a community needs to consider,
yeah,
um, how they would be able to leverage that market differentiation for their
yeah,
IL residents. So
yeah.
that's certainly something to consider from an operator level. Anyways,
So in
Jill,
this slide,
Jill, your screen is not showing.
oh, oh, it's not, huh?
No, you stopped screen share.
Oh
was
dear.
that's okay. You were sharing one unit, but I think you moved on to maybe a roommate floor plan with it. Yes,
There. How did I stop sharing? Oh
I
dear.
think
This
it
is
was
a
a switch.
technology talk, and here I okay. So in this slide, what
Mhm.
I've noted in here is everything that, let's say, this operator is asking for. So to go through kind of things with a broad stroke,
Mhm.
Matt, any things that, like you said, that could be challenging dollar wise to outfit after the fact, maybe, or to plan for ahead of time.
Mhm.
Things when people talk about smart home technology used in IL, I don't know how far that goes. How
Well,
we can operate blinds. I've noted on here
yes.
window treatment controls. We can operate the television monitor and the electronics, and we can bring in broadcasts from the community room or the art program and speakers, etc. Smart home lighting control.
They're
What else
all
we can do?
possible, Jill.
Yeah,
In order for it to be possible, of course, there's a compatibility. So there are
yeah,
definitely solutions and systems that are out there that deliver to an operator a managed, smart
Yeah,
apartment units type system. There's a fee
yeah,
for it. Of course, there's a, you know,
right.
there's that cost, and you're going to have to pay per unit per month for
Yeah.
that level of engagement. But some of the things that you could realize from that might be an I'm okay, a report of what
Oh,
what
yeah.
units had activity.
Yep.
Um, you can it offers some digital signage or messaging, some capability to deliver some
Uh,
content or
yeah.
announcements and that type of thing.
Yeah.
It offers the ability to expand. So you could start with, say, one light switch and one T-stat and a
Yeah.
speaker, and expand from there. But that would not be something that an operator would want to do in a room flip. That would be something that an
Oh,
operator would want to tackle
yeah.
across the campus or within a building or within a neighborhood,
Right.
if you will.
Well,
Make sense?
on this, yep, and I've noted on here a footboard installed TV monitor, and maybe that isn't something in a room flip because that would be a floor mounted outlet. And if someone else doesn't have that same layout in the
Right.
bedroom, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
I have in here the bidet with lighting and disinfectant and
hmm
all of the, I mean, it seems like
So here's
when,
here's what an operator could
yeah,
do. If
yeah,
you're looking at it from a capex or you're looking at it from a room flip, um, I would recommend picking some smart technologies that
hmm,
your maintenance team, your IT team have looked at, and you say, you know what, this is a fairly usable interface that we know we could
hmm,
hand off, and kind of give them the menu of, hey, if you're moving in here, we can equip your IL space, your
hmm,
apartment with these things that then you can take advantage of
okay,
for or however you want, and that way you can achieve the market differentiation and
okay,
kind of give them more of like what you're doing for your clients here. You're taking them through some design considerations. You can be like,
yep,
hey, you move in here. These are some of the things that are available. You let us know what you want. We'll tell you what that is. We'll get that deployed for you.
yeah,
And you will then be able to log in and manage it yourself. This is not a managed system. This is for you, your parents, whatever, whoever
yeah,
your audience is that they're talking to can take advantage of. And to your point, it just stopped sharing it, just FYI.
I
Um,
know.
if That's probably because of the IT thing we talked about earlier.
Got it. Okay, very good. I am gonna share my screen again.
Jill is
Share.
operating on a new laptop
There it
or a new
is.
computer. So
Yeah.
yes,
All
as you
right.
change the source, that's probably what's happening. And just
I'm gonna
click the
keep
hide button.
oh yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, all right. I'm going to click through these really a little
Yes,
quicker here.
we're
But
doing, yeah.
this is assisted living apartment unit, and this type of living,
Mhm.
obviously, it's going to need a little more care management and services brought to the apartments. So. What they've asked for is what are some technologies that we can integrate in here that help them deliver care, help them monitor, and them being the operator in this case,
Mhm.
and, that fits a generic larger bank or audience of
Right.
assisted living residents. The image that I have in here shows a small little induction cooktop, a small little unit that could be built into any of those kitchenettes or mini kitchens that we
Mhm.
put in assisted livings. Any concerns there? Because I think that's a great idea.
Oh, I think it's an awesome idea
Mhm.
because we've always heat, burning,
Yep.
flames, all of that are bad. I'd say the only thing that again, the caveat for the operator is, hey, you go induction, you need an
Yeah.
induction compatible piece
Yeah.
thing to put on there, right? So pot,
Yeah.
pan, and not any one will work because it obviously needs to be
Yeah.
induction capable. But that's the tech thing.
It
I
is the
think it's
tech.
I think it's amazing. Um, and I think
Yeah.
the cool thing is that you could offer an integrated to an island like this, or
Mhm.
possibly even tabletop. I don't know, how that would shake out in an AL unit. In an AL unit, you probably want to build it in
Yeah.
um, for that audience,
You
for
would
that
wanna be able to
resident.
how
Yeah.
do you Matt, how would you balance tech problems with an older, less tech savvy population? This is a
Mhm.
question that's been
Yeah.
written in. It can be frustrating when the tech doesn't work as expected, and it can result in hours of troubleshooting and aggravation. What's your answer there?
Um, it is, it's a great question, and
Yes.
it is not easy landscape to solve. I would say from a technology support standpoint,
Yep.
your technology partner should be there to help you navigate that landscape.
Okay.
But we solve it through a collaboration between our team and the community team,
Yeah.
helping address how do we best meet the needs of
Yeah.
your residents from an expectation service delivery standpoint. Because we
Yeah.
understand the residents moving in and their expectation is, look, I moved in here, like you're solving all my problems, even though
Yeah.
you didn't commit to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're service oriented. So sometimes it's challenging that they're moving in with old tech from their
Yeah.
home that was working, that they knew how to operate into a new
They knew how to
space,
operate and they don't want to
and
change.
and
Yeah.
now it's not working the same. That can
Yeah.
be. Or even, hey, you've moved into this space and now there's new tech and I don't know how to work it.
Yeah.
So we usually liaison with a community team member, or we work to get a local person there that can, you
Yeah.
really need to be in front of the resident, quite
I
honestly.
think this goes to say when we started this conversation is just it's more emphasis on getting a tech expert
Mhm.
involved early
Yeah,
into the conversations. And this is again where that member benefit that we talked about at the very early stages of bringing you into the fold early, as long as you're, I mean, this is a great help when you have some um, conversations early where people are challenging on how much tech they're able
yeah,
to bring in. And I mean, I'm just throwing that out. My screen, hopefully I'm sharing right now, is showing an assisted living apartment. And again, all of the things that this particular operator has asked for that could happen in an assisted living scenario. It seems like all of the tech savvy and very helpful for healthcare. It seems endless that we could do in the bathroom, quite frankly. I mean, it seems like there's a nonstop barrage of tech things we could go over the top on things there. I learned about i- a tech savvy, there it is on technology in the sewer stack to analyze feces mineral content. I'm sure some of you listening to this have used that, but any concerns of integrating that into a unit, Matt, from the ground up, or is that something that is very specialized and ties back to a nurse charting area, or where does that? I mean, what's the thoughts on that?
so the specific tech that you're referring to as far as a care is a care specific
Yeah,
tech, right?
yeah, yep.
For whether it's like a fall detection or calling for help, or what type of,
And this is mineral content of waste. But yes, all of it goes back
yeah,
to a
like
nurse. It's data.
the toilet analysis. So
Yes.
name the thing that you're wanting to observe, whether it's a smart scale or a blood pressure monitor or
Yeah.
stool sample or anything like that. I'd say anything that you're observing within the unit, it's critical to make sure that that data feeds back to that specific resident,
Yeah.
right? So you're installing some of this tech in a stationary, the unit number doesn't change, but who occupies the unit does.
Yes.
So that what I would say the key component there in looking at any technology is how do you administer it from a
Yeah.
community level, from an IT level, and how do you move a resident in or out? And then how is that data correlated to your care system?
Yeah.
If if this data is not captured and fed into the care record, I'd say it puts the operator at an operational, I don't know if deficit is the right word, but
Hmm.
it's a disadvantage. It means, hey, we're putting in something that gives us visibility, but if it's sitting in a separate system, well, now our team needs to go look at that system, observe that system, run the report on the system, and then take it over to our care system and note that, oh,
Yeah.
stool sample mineral content was low. Hey, now
Yeah.
from that, we're going to change their meds or adjust their
Yeah.
whatever. Does that make sense? So it's really smart
Yeah.
tech should present itself into the care record
Yep.
so that your frontline staff can do something about it.
Yeah.
And also your resident care director, health and wellness director, whatever you call them,
Yeah.
a nurse is able to see it as well.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the challenges we see is the smart systems tend to be siloed. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we can tell you this report, this happened, a fall happened.
Yeah.
Wonderful. How do I note that in the care record besides a
Right.
manual data entry?
Right. When our clients ask us for all of this technology, I wonder, I mean, it sounds like we should put it in categories, like you said, data collection that is fed back to a nurse or a central something that we're grabbing this information and using it in some way. That could be an active and a passive category too, as a subset too of an active is you're collecting knowledge right now,
Yep.
a nurse call, someone's fallen, something, et
We can
cetera, et cetera.
exactly like your keyless entry is a great
Yeah,
example of that. You have an online lock or an offline lock. An
yeah,
offline lock would be one that keeps a record of who went and came, but in order to get
yes,
those records, you need to walk up with a USB reader or
yes,
some type of reader, download it, and then SneakerNet walk back to a computer and upload those transactions and then
yeah,
digest them. An
yeah,
online one, they're live.
yeah. I have noted on here as part of a smart home technology too is some overhead lights that could collect data. You've seen lots of it on the market where they're observing and watching the resident move about their apartment. Um, any thoughts on those?
Uh, Again, I think that whether it's lights or TSATs or anything like that, anything
Yeah,
that is monitoring and collecting data is administration standpoint.
yeah,
Who's responsible for seeing it, reporting on it, doing it?
yeah,
How long does it take to ingest that data in order
yeah,
to be able to report on a baseline and an exception to that baseline?
yeah,
And then where is that data presented? Is it presented in an alert? And how is it presented in alert? And how does that then get to the care platform? So
yeah,
there's a tech and a sort of business intelligence or data connection point as well.
yeah. I do want to say here we are at 3 minutes to the end of this, and what we're going to do, Matt, if you're up for it,
We're
is
just going to
just
talk really fast.
we're we're going to keep going. This is being recorded, and as we said, it's a free tech talk. So those of you who are on and can't stay longer, and you might have questions. Or you want to know more about this technology, or you want to know who anything that you want to know, please either email us at info@sagefederation.org or Matt, they could email you directly. Can you say what your email is?
I
Or put
can.
it in the chat,
It is
I
going
guess.
to be in the chat. Make sure that
So,
this is going to all. So let me actually host some panels. Here we go.
yes, put it in the
Yeah,
chat. So we're going to keep talking. It's being recorded. All of you who are on are going to get a copy of this recording. It's going to be found at our website, etc. Please pass it along to anyone else that can watch it after the fact. But we're going to keep going through these 4 plans. All right. So this
absolutely.
is this is a memory support apartment unit. Little different, actually a lot different. A little
Hmm.
different than that assisted living apartment unit concerns. This is we keep stepping into more and more care needs as we go to these care levels that they keep increasing, increasing the needs for help and assistance. So, memory support apartment unit. This could be a typical floor plan. This is a basic one. Once again, there's no kitchenette. You could have a kitchenette, etc. But in this scenario, the operator is asking again, what are all the things that we can do for a technology that's
Hmm.
both, again, passive or active? So you may not see it. It might be silent, maybe data collection, but
Hmm.
same layers as that we just saw before, but less luxury kind of approaches, I think. Thoughts on this?
Uh, for sure. Um, I think that the an operator should consider some what is it, passive or active. Let's see. Let's define passive and active, right? So
Yes.
in a passive,
Yeah.
it depends upon the audience. So you don't want your resident to have to interact with something in
Well,
order
that's
for you as an operator to get it. So that would
yeah.
be, you're actively monitoring that resident, but the
Yeah.
resident doesn't need to. interact with said system in order
Right.
to, example, pull cord. In order for the pull cord to
Yes.
work, the resident has to interact with it. If you're
Yes.
talking about a wearable and that wearable can tell you can report whether you're in your unit or out of your unit or in your
Yes.
bathroom or out of your bathroom, that would be a passive monitoring for that
Yes.
resident, right?
I'm not sure if it fits in the category, Matt, but I was also just thinking of when we're collecting data, you've got someone has fallen right away, that would initiate a nurse to help immediately versus an overhead light that's monitoring behaviors and gathering data for over a year. That's not triggering any nurse call. That's not triggering anything. It's just
I,
observing. So to me, it's a technology where we're gathering data
mhm.
and it's coming back to collection point A, but it's not an immediate or it's something that can happen later. So I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
if that's a
no, that's very relevant. I think that our position from a technology standpoint is technology should ultimately empower, elevate operations
Mhm.
so that operationally your caregivers, your staff can spend more time with the resident.
Okay.
Technology should not consume the attention of your care staff. It
Yeah.
should elevate the interaction of your care staff with your residents. That's the whole point of
Yeah.
your team in a community, is to interface with the residents.
Yeah.
So starting there, that means when we look back on our technology, we need to be asking that question of our technology partners and systems: is how is this technology going to help elevate our care?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if there's something that is gathering data and is going to present you some information, how, where, and
Yeah.
how can you get it to care? Those are generally the questions that we're asking.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
they're critical. So like memory care, I would say a would love to have for an
Yeah.
operator is a wearable that
Yes.
can tell an operator where a resident is within a memory care neighborhood so
Yeah.
that they can know activity wise where they are and even if they potentially elope. I think that's amazing. Same thing
Yes.
for staff, right? So if you can have,
Your sound went out, Matt. I think you know that because you changed your headset, but
then I think it's super important. Sorry, my headset
there it
died.
is. That's all
Had to
right.
do a quick swap.
I love it.
It was
I
it was
some
telling me it's dying, but
that's oh,
passive, that information too shouldn't
yeah,
sit in its own system.
sure.
If you're going to be able to get that, it's critical for an operator to ingest that information into
Yeah,
your EHR platform would
yeah,
be the ideal.
okay. Some things I've noted on here that maybe others haven't known, or maybe you have heard of, is motion censored LED lights that help for fall risks in memory care
Hmm.
scenarios. I know this floor plan isn't necessarily ideal because we want to be able to look into the bathroom, but I'm using it as an example. But
Right.
um, LEDs have come a long way. My gosh, they're implemented in every scenario, I think, in every area. But that's pretty impressive on that. I'm going to go to the next one. This is a skilled care unit. Once again, more care, more hands-on. This
Hmm.
is 24-hour nursing, etc. Thoughts or additional, or should I just jump ahead?
No, actually, from a
Yeah,
skilled care, again, what your staffing level, what you can monitor and what you can do in this space is even different than the other spaces. So
yeah,
that's so there are definitely different technologies that you can put in there,
yeah,
um, and even in a SNF, the resident,
yeah,
the whether it's a resident or it is a patient, they may be occupying that space
yeah.
on a shorter term basis.
That's true.
Uh, you know, Ideally in your memory care AL and IL, you want them there as long as possible. You don't
Yeah,
want them there in a transient.
yeah,
In skilled, you do, because you want
yeah.
them to move out into outpatient, if you will. But obviously it depends upon what you're there for.
I think the
So
minute that we transition to a skilled from an independent living scenario and we look at technology, independent living was looking to benefit directly the next level living of a resident. Whereas here, we're trying to empower the staff, in my
yes,
opinion. Would you agree?
agreed.
We're
Yes.
trying to make their life easier. If we think about it from that perspective, both the physical plan design coupled with the technology that you're going to plan for in this space could help make their lives easier, staff, for
Yes.
giving care and less disruption to a resident's life as we need to do this, like the physical
So
placement of where we're going to store meds or how is medication dispensed,
exactly.
keyless fobs where you credential in and out of things and that kind of
Well,
thing.
even in a SNF, I don't know that we're typically locking a unit other than a privacy, or sometimes
Nope,
that
that's
isn't,
right.
right?
Yep.
So,
But keyless fobs for the medication or the
oh, for the
cabinetry
meds, I'm
or
so
the
sorry.
yep,
Yes,
yep,
yes,
yep, yep,
right.
yep.
Um,
And
your
and
TV,
supplies in the bathroom. But
right?
yeah,
There's some decisions that you don't that are not left up to a resident or patient here in a SNF, right?
yeah,
Generally, you're not going to move in and put your own TV. So
right.
the TV isn't expected to be delivered there. So there's some things that you can that you don't have to decide on that enable you, whether it's messaging or digital
Yeah,
signage or information. You can you're you're expected to deliver that display, and that
yeah,
display should be able to be controlled from the bed. You're
okay,
expected to deliver possibly sometimes a phone.
yeah.
um, you've got
Well, yeah,
wired you've got usually more of a wired nurse call type system
yeah,
than a wireless, and you're not usually equipping a resident patient with
yeah,
a wireless fob, if you will. But I
yeah,
think when you talk about a campus community, you might have a spouse in a
yeah,
SNF unit and a resident who lives in an IL or AL unit coming here. So there's some blending of
yeah,
technologies that needs to be able to still perform here.
yeah. There's also technology that I've learned about. I haven't been able to use it yet. I want to, but we can put it underfloor, which senses the liquids in someone's body, so that it knows, and it's specific to each resident in the area. But it is amazing to learn about to implement, and that's again something that would feed back to a nurse
Mhm.
area, to gather data and know when they're falling, getting up. It's one step or many 10 steps beyond a typical system that I would see. Hopefully, I'm sharing my screen still. I've
You
got
are.
some images. Oh, good. Here, I went back. I've got some images of some inside of apartments. Sometimes it's easier to see an image of an apartment than a
Totally
floor
agree.
plan. So, in this scenario, some technologies that they're asking for here would be um, this. Let's say this is an independent living apartment because we've got a dishwasher. Um,
And a freestanding stove, usually that's
A
something
freestanding
or a range,
stove,
if you will.
range, that's right. But something that could help elevate the living quality in this independent living apartment. I would think smart home technologies a go-go, right? USB ports in the outlets. I I think, let's see, let me go to the next one. In this scenario, we could, is there a way to remember the second slide where maybe someone with that needs more care is moving in as their spouse. Is there a way that we can, I'm sure there is, I'm asking a tech expert, but to disengage all appliances or have them engage when the other spouse is there? Can they turn off a range? Can they turn off the safety hazards as they leave the apartment or leave for the day? I'm sure there's a way that we can do that. And that's not necessarily smart home, but it's a thought on something like
Yes.
that. You're gonna say yes to everything. What am I saying here?
Well, well, so here's what
Yeah.
I'd say I
Yeah.
was just answering a question I think that Heidi had asked, so I was just typing that
Oh,
answer.
let's see it.
Um, for what she had asked, the example of the underfloor sensors, and I just said we
Yes.
can provide that after the session. We
Yes.
are intentionally focused on the design
Yes, that's right.
aspect and considerations,
Yep.
and less focused on the specific manufacturer system, because we're not here to advertise or
Right.
being sponsored by anybody. So that's
I can send that out later.
yeah,
But yeah,
yep,
exactly. Thank you, Matt, for answering that.
absolutely. So one of the things that we have talked about with some of the operators that we support
Yeah.
for their IL units would be, if you've got a smart, let's say you've got a smart enabled, in this example, you've got
Yep.
a range, you've got a dishwasher, you've got a microwave, you've got a refrigerator.
Yep. Basics.
Basics. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we could ingest the smart component of those things
Hmm.
to elevate the awareness of, oh, hey, the range is on and
Yes,
nobody's in the unit type of thing.
that's
So
right. Yep.
I think in order to get to achieve that, I would say this is where we go back to collaboration. We go back to some of the fundamentals. In order to solve the problem, it requires the operator to present, hey, here's the problem. And it requires the tech partner and IT teams to solve, how do we best answer this
Hmm.
so that, and this goes to Heidi's, no, not Heidi's question. I think it was Alyssa that was balancing the tech problems. Like, we can
Yeah.
solve the problems, but first have to start with what problem we're trying to solve, and then
Yeah.
we step through it. One of the
Yeah.
ways that we achieve that is we do scheduled calls like tech ops.
Right.
What's working, what's not?
Yeah.
What problems exist, and how do you want to solve them?
Yeah.
So just what do you do with smart appliances, and where do they present?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone has asked, can you please explain the advantage of remote controlled appliances? In the case that another operator has asked for those, that scenario kind of briefly explained it was when their spouse was having some memory support
Mm-hmm.
issues. And it was very specific to different apartments. It wasn't all across the board, broad sweeping, but the concern was thinking, could those be turned off by a keyless, like when you're present in the area,
Right.
everything turns on that's a danger. I mean, the refrigerator's always on, the dishwasher's always on, but
Well, there's
microwave or heating elements can be
it
turned off. In
right.
addition, it locks the knife drawer, it locks other things. So when that, it's a reverse kind of thing. That was the thoughts. Yes,
And
Matt.
agreed. It's just the challenges with doing those things is that in order to program, we
Hmm.
need to know the space.
Yeah.
Right. So when we were talking about the skilled unit, the space is somewhat more fixed. TV goes
Yeah.
here, bed
Okay.
is here, this is here. So if you say knife drawer, okay, well, who's
Yeah.
going to guarantee that that knife drawer is there? Just as an example, right? Like
Sure.
we can do that, but if the knife isn't in there,
Right.
not helpful,
You're right.
right? Oh, you need
You're
to know
right.
that the knife's in the drawer and that it's locked,
It's not
know?
sitting on the counter. That's
Right,
correct. You're
exactly.
correct.
So let's just stay with the
Human error.
appliances. I think one of the
Yeah.
questions was explain the advantage of a remote controlled appliance.
Yes.
Let's not, I don't know that I would focus on remote controlled per
Sure.
se, but
Yep.
let's just say aware. If you're aware that refrigerator is open, or you're aware that somebody left the water on and the sink is overflowing and water is now running
Yep.
onto the floor, from an operator standpoint, I don't think it takes very much for me to explain how important that is in a multi-dwelling unit to have
Yep.
water running in an apartment and
Yeah.
nobody know about it,
You're right. You're
right?
right.
So
Yep.
it's beneficial to an operator to consider, hey, what should we be monitoring because we are offering a multi-dwelling unit space? How do
Yeah.
we do that to make sure that we're managing utilities, because those are our cost of operating, right?
Yeah.
So the more efficient we are there, the better we can, the more revenue, the more margin we have to deliver care. So again, technology should help empower operations. To me, your tech should help increase your operational margin,
Yeah.
decrease risk, increase awareness. So
Yeah.
hopefully that answers your question of the remote controlled appliances.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump to this.
Ideally, you could say, hey, cook an omelet for
Yeah.
resident in 201, Mrs. Smith, and then the fridge spits out a net. No, just but that's not what we're talking.
That's next level. That's
We'd be
next
talking
level.
more autonomous machines at that point. Yes.
Robots come in. I'm going to jump to this bathroom too. So some of that technology that we could be implementing in this bathroom for the operator asking in this case could be the temperature and the TV show and the time embedded in a mirror. That's just helpful for a resident. I mean, it's not
Hmm.
necessarily something that needs to feed back to the nurse area for data collection, but it's helpful to be aware of the time. Could daily activities be on that broadcast on the TV and I don't
Right.
know if that's able to be
Those are
programmed into the mirror, but yeah.
for sure. Those are all, and it really is about aligning your budget and your spend with what you want to achieve in your space.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, what market are you serving?
Yep.
And to answer the question that you laid out by this particular operator is
Yeah.
what is their market competition? Are they a premium? Are they a mid-market?
Sure.
Yeah.
True. True. Let's see. I am going
And
to, I think we
as you're
can,
going through this, just for the audience, want to make sure we just reminder, this is in-unit smart tech. We are not
yeah.
talking about common areas, amenities, or anything of that. So that's why we are focused on the particular units and the
Yeah.
things to consider,
Yeah.
because we spend a lot of time in these design charrettes talking through these things. So we
Yeah.
just
True.
thought that, right?
True. I'm going to end it there because I can go into more slides, but it's all on common areas. And I know just wanted to focus on resident units, some thoughts of kinds of technology that we can implement in these coming from the design side, my world, into your tech side, and those marrying the conversations in an early stage. So I'm so happy for people to have joined us today. And again, please spread the
Yes.
word. For future tech talks, I think we're going to be talking about, if you guys have some preferences, but I think it's helpful to talk about common areas. And these common areas could be common areas for independent living, common areas for skilled, common areas for assisted living specific. They could be common areas for outdoor spaces. Uh, all of this is helpful design charrette interaction kind of thing. And so if you have some preferences of what you'd like to see next, please type it in or email us.
We are made better by your input. So please
That's
don't
right.
think that what you have to ask is not relevant.
That's right. All right, you guys, thank you for hanging on to the very end, and we appreciate it. The
Yes.
next Tech Talk we have scheduled, and you'll see it on the events on our
Drum roll.
sagefederation.org, is September 26th. So it's going to be same bat channel, same what's the phrase? I don't know, same
Same bat
anyway.
time, same bat channel,
There you go. There you
and the
go.
same bat team.
That's right, same bat team. Anyway, we appreciate all of your knowledge, Matt. So I love it. It's very helpful and very relevant to what we're talking about. So again, any last closing thoughts? You're going
Thank
to
you
get a
for your
copy of
knowledge.
the yes. Yeah.
My
All right.
email's in
Thanks.
there. Questions, you guys shoot them over, and don't forget about the Sage member benefit.
Yep. Thank
Bring
you,
it.
guys. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.